Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another update on my terrain square circle. I've done a lot of work. I'm just about to show you that, but first of all, just a quick reminder that this competition is being sponsored by Inside Out Terrain. There is a link to their Facebook page. Please go and check that out. And indeed, if you are making like videos about your pieces of terrain, if you could do a shout out to Inside Out Terrain's Facebook page for me as well, that would be really awesome. If we can send as many people over to their Facebook page as possible, that would be really great. And they've got lots and lots of good inspirational material over there, and some really good good value commission works that he does as well for pieces of terrain and stuff. So go and check it out. And as I said, if you could do a shout out in one of your terrain making competition videos, that would be awesome as well. So thank you for that. Right, okay, straight on to my circle. So in the last video I was talking about the barricades that I'd made, and I said that my next step was to glue these onto here. Now I've actually had a change of hearts with that, because I'm figuring that these are going to be quite difficult to paint once they're glued on there. They're sort of angled backwards, and I think it'd be really difficult to get the brush in there, especially when if they're all glued all round. So I've decided I'm going to paint them up and then glue them on. And what I do is, my plan is, I'm going to prime this base here. I'll paint the stones up, and then I'll get these painted up. And then I will glue them on, and once they're glued I'll probably go in and do some more sand, so the front of these barricades could have more sand, and then I'll paint the sand afterwards. So that's the plan. Right, what I have been working on is the 3 tubes which I found, which was, if you put the TT Combat Terrain aside, the 3 tubes was my actual original idea, and I've been umming and ahhing what to do with them, but I've finally done some work, and actually I'm pretty much finished. Now I'm going to have to go freehand here because the tubes are quite tall, so let me just pick the camera up and I'll bring the piece of terrain in. Okay, so here we go. There she is. So just run over it quickly. So I put those, basically I put some bases on the top there to cover the 3 holes. And then on the top of the bases I put some laser cut card base toppers, which I had in that laser cut card box. And then put the 3 TT Combat pieces there. That's from the spares from the pylon that I made. Now my idea is to get one of those laser cut card crystals and put that in the top. I think that's going to look really cool. Down the tubes themselves I put some Necron symbols. So I made this sort of side here the front of the piece, and so they've got different crystals. If I turn this around, the other 2 sides have the same crystals, symbols, and then this one has these larger ones. And then right at the bottom there I've made like a door, and again I've put on a couple of symbols there, just to give an extra sort of bit more detail really, so you can just imagine these Necrons are going into this piece of terrain, just or building, whatever, and there's like a little control room in there or something. I then decided that these extra tubes which I had, rather than joining them together and having like little stacks of tubes, I thought I'd just incorporate them into this piece and give this piece a little bit more detail. So I've stuck a tube on each join as such, and my plan is to use these crystals again and pop these crystals in here. And obviously the crystals won't go in until it's fully painted, like so. So that is how the piece of terrain is going to look. Now I think that is looking really cool. And just imagine it painted up. We're going to paint it up basically green, and then the symbols are going to be silver. Maybe these ones here I was thinking gold with silver down here, just to break things up. I did decide also it might potentially be a good idea to make a little base for this to go on. So I've made a little circular base. Most of my Necron terrain has little circular bases anyway, from the laser cut card stuff. So I thought if I put on a little base, A, it sort of finishes it off, and B, it will make it a bit more sturdy so it won't topple over so easily. And of course the idea is to either have this in the centre of this piece with the barricades going around, or this can just be a standalone piece of terrain, you know, just by itself. So I can just put that on the board as a standalone piece of terrain. So really happy with it. I'm really liking it. Now there's one reason why I haven't glued this circle to this is I'm not 100% sure yet what I'm going to do with those little bubblegum things that I've got. So let me just grab them. Okay, what I have done is I've taken the sticky label off, and now this is going to be my sort of hot tip really for taking sticky stuff off. First of all, I just soaked it in water and I just got the main paper off. It left this really horrible sticky substance, which was easily removed with this stuff, lighter fluid. This is amazing for taking sticky stuff off. You know when you buy something from the shop and it's got like a sticky label, you peel the label off and then it's got like a sticky substitute like left over. Well, this stuff here, just put it on a little cloth, just rub it over and it just takes that sticky stuff off. So that's what I've done on these. Now I did have a slight little thought that potentially I could use these on either side of this piece of terrain here. So I could make maybe like a little base for it, so like a rectangular base, and have them on either side of that. Part of me thinks it looks cool, another part of me thinks it's going to look too much like a rocket ship. So I'm not 100% sure on that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the next piece, which is those two TT Combat generators, and see if I can incorporate them into that piece of terrain. So I think probably would work better. So like I said, before I actually glue this on though, I just want to see how I get on with these, because I do have the option just to use it on this piece of terrain. I don't think I am, but I'm just sort of holding out before I glue that on, just in case I come up with a different idea. So that is it. That is my work. Like I said, I really hope you like this. I think it looks pretty cool. Once I get it painted, I think it's going to look really nice. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, of course, as usual. Right, that's it for this update. Thanks very much for watching. Keep up the great work on your pieces of terrain. There's still time to enter, as long as you finish your piece of terrain by, I think the ending date is the 12th of April. So get your pieces of terrain done before then. You can enter anytime you like. You can enter 1 week before, as long as you build and paint your piece of terrain ready to enter. Okay, so that's it from me. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.